Sorry, Rachel, I was going to say, yeah, it's more focused on kind of accessing and finding resources as opposed to creating classrooms or sort of creating that thing. So it's more accessing and creating and finding resources.
Yes, that's right. But in order to do that, you do need to create your own setup for your own class. So that is the purpose of this, is to show you how to find resources very quickly and how to put them out to the children. So it's trying to get away from the sort of just letting them roam around and actually finding content that's useful and getting them to focus on that. And then in some cases you can review the results of that. Right, okay, so when you log in with your Teacher USO, you're going to see this red button here that says Teacher Mode. When the pupils log in with their Pupil USO, this is what they see. You can change that view to remove the setups within these setups out to the front, which is something that quite a lot of schools like to do. I'll just do it now. If you go up to Account Settings and you put Pupil Mode Only, Show Setups Without Age Bands, and click Save. Now the classes are out here. Now this helps if you want to create a setup for maybe children that are working at a lower level, but you don't want them to feel like they're going into a lower level. So what we're looking at here are all the default setups that, and by default I mean the setups that come with Busy Things when you first start using it. And what we want you to do is to make your own ones. So I'm going to go in the middle here to Key Stage 1 and I'm going to create my own setup. So I'm going up onto the teacher bar here. Just to reiterate the basic difference between the pupil view and the teacher view. Basically, you're hiding in pupil view all the things that I'm going to show you now that you might want to use to customize what the pupils are seeing. So that is this area here, the bar along the top, and this alert system here. The pupils don't see any of that. So I'm going up to Manage Setups, and I'm going to create a new setup for Key Stage 1 as if I was a Key Stage 1 teacher. LGFL users won't see this box here where you can create a username and password for your class. That will be changing in September. We will hopefully be able to get that to USO users. You're asked to choose a year group for your class. If you've got a mixed year group, it doesn't matter. Just choose one of these because you can still customize later. And then you can obviously choose your own icon and choose your own background. Do bubbles and save. So you can see I've now got this band here that's appeared under Key Stage 1, and it is my setup. So when we look in here now, it's there, and you can see it's orange, and it says Made by School, and that's to distinguish it from these ones that we've made. Now, obviously, if you've got your own setup, any changes that you make in there are not going to affect other users, providing everybody's sticking to their own setup. So the children will need to use the setups that you've set up for them. So if everybody in Key Stage 1 made their own setups, you would expect them to be able to hide the default ones. I'm going to do that here. I'm back in Manage Setups and I'm switching off Teacher Mode and Pupil Mode views. It says shown in Teacher Mode, Pupil Mode. and I've hidden it. So now in Key Stage 1, we've just got our setup. So when you create a new setup, it comes with everything, basically. When we selected year 1 or year 2, it swept through all the content on Busy Things. There's over 1,000 activities. And it put in the same content that we put in the default setups. Somebody's just trying to get in. Let me... So we're looking at basically a duplicate of the default Key Stage 1 setup. So it comes with these subject areas. These are the multicolored buttons, and all the yellow buttons, which are areas rather than content. So there's a My Files area where the children's saved work will go. There's a My Assignments area where you can put assignments for your children. And there's a Favorites area. Those are the key ones here. And those are the ones I'm going to quickly explain. Okay, so next step is obviously to find content. So the crudest way of doing that would be to just start clicking around in your setup until you hit a game or a menu of content. That's going to be quite time consuming, I think. So so it's probably not the most efficient way of doing it, but you can do it like this. And the thing to note, if you do want to just spend a bit of time browsing the subject menus in teacher mode, the things to note are these filter buttons here, which will filter the screen by activity type. If you're not sure what these mean, they are labeled here. And printables are only visible in teacher mode. And this blue button is only visible in teacher mode. And this bar along the top is only visible in teacher mode. So it's this blue button here, which is the key to pulling out content. I'm not going to do anything with that just now. And these filters here. So if I just want to see all the games on here, I switch everything off but the games. So this is all the maths games in my Key Stage 1 setup that are looking at addition and subtraction. I'll switch that back on. So that's not a terribly efficient way of trying to find content. You really should familiarize yourself with these teacher tools, which are visible when you've logged in with your Teacher USO. You've got two options. You've got a straight search tool and a curriculum browser. In the straight search tool, these are the facilities that you can use. So you can just type in a search term or choose a subject area, an activity type, and the content will start to appear here. Notice the different colors. So green is a science activity, orange is maths, and pink is literacy. But some activities are cross curriculum. So if you could see here, we've put it as a literacy one first and a science one second. So it's create a mini beast. Again, notice this blue button here. This is how you pull things forward. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to add it to favorites in my setup. And I'm going to pin it to my home page. So I've created what we call a pin. Right, I'll show you what I've just done. So if I go back in now to my setup, you can see that I've created this pin here called Mini Beast Monday, and in that is the activity that I found in the search tool. I also put it in favorites, so it's a device that is the same. The advantage of using pins is that if it's an activity that the children can save, you get a little save files folder here and everything's kept together. And also, once you've set up pins, perhaps for every day of the week, you can get into the habit of putting activities in and out of the pin. So they're probably a bit easier to maintain than the favorites area. Always look in the teacher bar for your options to add and remove and delete pins. There. Now, obviously, if you've created this pin, you're still, if I look, I've switched back to pupil mode, there's still a lot of other content here that can distract the children. So your options are to very quickly jump up here to hide show content. I'm in teacher mode because I wouldn't see this if I wasn't. And click start customizing, and I'm just going to hide all for now and click done. So now if I switch to pupil mode and I go into the class setup, this is all that the children will see. So it's very, very quick to just whiz into your class setup and hide content that you don't want them to get involved with, using the pin and hide all. I'm going to switch everything back on now and show you another way that you can quickly. So I've gone back up here, hide show content, restore default, and click done. So everything's back on now. Another way that you can do that is you can change the landing page. So if I go into an area and I think, oh, it's just a few activities on here that I would like the children to look at this morning, I'd go to hide show content again. I would hide all. Oh. And then I'd just reveal the ones that I want and click done. So now I've just got a few on here. And then I'd go up to my settings for my setup, and I'd go to this landing page thing here, and I'd say use current page and save. So very quickly now, what I've done is when the pupils are in pupil mode, when they go in here now, they land there because I've changed the landing page to this menu, and I've hidden the activities on that menu that I didn't want them to see. You can also, let me just put all that back again. If I do it in reverse, you'll see how to undo it, and it might make it easier to remember. So we're back in teacher mode. Currently we've got the landing page set to here. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to put it back to use setup's home page and click save. So now when you go in, everything's back again. So another device that's useful in keeping children focused on what you've given them is this padlock button here. So you can use the padlock button at any point. It could be within a game or within a pin to stop them coming back out. All the padlock button does is remove the back button. So if I put that on now, you need your teacher password to do it. The back button is removed, so they can't get out without the teacher password. So keep an eye out for that. Because it's very useful. Like I say, you can actually use that within a game. If you just quickly go into a game and put the padlock on and remove the back button, keep them in that game. Okay, so we had a look at this search tool, and we put an activity from that search tool into favorites and into a pin. I'm now going to show you this search tool. And this is a search tool where you can find content. Again, you use this side to filter the content and the results will come up here. So you can find content by drilling down through the curriculum. So we're back on maths, addition and subtraction, and you can see it's the same content that was on the subject menu that we went into in our own setup, but it's another way of viewing that content. So again, the blue button is key to putting content in your setup. So we did an add to favorites. You can also access the activity info, the curriculum links. You could save the curriculum links out as a PDF with an activity screenshot and a description of the activity, which some early years staff like to do that as evidence-based record keeping. I won't do that because it'll change the window. And the one thing I haven't showed you in here is create shortcut. So let me just say, when you look at an activity from one of these search tools, you'll always come back to the search tool. So get into the habit of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then when you find something that you like, you use the blue button. We've done add to favorites. And I'm now going to show you create a shortcut. So what you can do here is select your setup. I put on the radio button specific setup login, Mrs. Jones, which is my setup, and click make shortcut. Now this link here is a link to just that activity. So as long as the children have got their Pupil USO, if you send that link home or you put it into a lesson plan, when they click on that link, they'll be asked for their USO, but they would just land inside the game. So it's quite useful for planning purposes and in the current situation for sending home to children. So the other thing that you can do, you can obviously drill right down into these objectives here and start to see the content change on the right. And activities will sometimes have the option here to be assigned. So you can do it from the search tools, but a better place to do it is from here, which is the assignments area. So you can see these are assignments that I've done in the past. And you can see that I've got create a new assignment here, and I've got these 3 activity types that I can assign. So I can assign a quiz, a project, or a worksheet. You can't assign games or other activity types at the moment, but you can assign quizzes, projects, and worksheets. That's because these are currently straightforward for us to track the results. Come September, you will be able to track a full history of what each individual child is doing. But for now, this is what you've got between now and the end of term. So I'm going to go ahead and assign a quiz. So you can see I've got this age range. I'm going to narrow that age range to year 1, 2, and 3, and 4, because I maybe want to see some older ones. And I'm going to assign the year 1. So Mrs. Jones. I'm just going to do 1 round for speed's sake. Understanding and comparing length and height. I'm not going to allow the children to review their answers. And I'm not going to give it a start date, because if I give it a date in the future, it's not going to show up in the assignments area in the pupil mode until that date. And we want to go and do this right now. So don't get confused by that. If you want to have a go at it straight away in order to understand this assignments area, then don't leave that blank. But once you've got the hang of it, then you can obviously set assignments for the week ahead. So I'm going to click save and close. Okay, so here it is. This is the one we've just made. And you can see I've got no submissions because nobody's done it yet. So we're going to go and do it now. We put it in the assignments area here of our setup. That's why we've got a number 1. So I'm going to do this now. Now with the Pupil USO LGFL users, the pupil, as long as they're logged in, the pupil's name will already be in here. So they will just click OK and start. Okay, I'm just going to do this very quickly without reading the questions. So you can see here, it says your assignment has been submitted. And I'll just go and show you that. I've got a little tick here as well. So I've come back in as a teacher and I can see I've had 1 submission. And then when I click results, I can see which questions were correct and which were wrong. I can click on the crosses and see what the child answered. And obviously, if you've got a whole group of children doing this, you're going to start to see quite quickly which questions are causing the most problems. So look up here in the teacher bar. This will give you all the options that you have at this point. So you can export the results, select all, and delete results from here. So that was assigning a quiz. You could also assign projects. So projects are topic work. So if I, this is one we've done recently. So here we go. When it's a project, you're going to get asked to choose a template, because all of our projects come with several different templates. So you can decide which one you want to put forward for the assignment. If you leave that blank, then the children will get to choose their own template. And obviously, if you want to have a play of the activity in order to decide which template, then before you assign it, just play it and then come back to the assignments area. The play buttons are always on the screenshot, and if you just go and play it and then come back, you'll know which template you want. Okay, so we've done another one, very quick. So we've got 2 in there now. Again, the name would be in there. get some guidance here. So this is one where the children can create their own. Oh, I seem to get that to go. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, it's nope. Never mind. And obviously they can start to put in. Okay, well now when I submit that and close, it will come back into the assignments area for the teacher to see. So you can see I've got number 1 and the results are shown here. So that will build up as a body of work. And then again, in the teacher bar, you can select all and export. So projects are either fully, if you look, when you go in there, you get these paint cans or you get this piece of paper. So the paint can ones are very simple art projects, but still probably linked to a school topic. So Arctic colouring. And then the writing ones, Animals of the Arctic and Antarctic, have obviously got more advanced features, where including the ability to import photographs and write text. And you get a sort of comprehensive set of art tools as well. So assigning projects is really about topic work. Worksheets are labeling, categorizing, ordering activities. So again, use this age range to search and a search term. We've got London, and you see them start to come up here. If there's content that you can't find on Busy Things, you always have the option to create your own project using the Busy Painter and Publisher or the Graph Maker. So if there's something that you're doing at the moment that is maybe you're not likely to find it in a school topic, something specific. The example I've been given here, been using, is children writing about their own lockdown experience, but it could be anything. I haven't given this a label, but obviously you can decide what it is you want your topic to be and put your instructions in here, and then you get access to all our templates here. So these are ready-made templates, and you get a writing area and a painting area. So you can assign and save, close. So if you imagine now your own custom project is now in here, and the results from this will be collected in exactly the same way as the hieroglyphic codes were back in the assignments area. So that's quite powerful, because you can create work that you've created for a particular purpose. So the last area I'm going to show you is the resource maker. So this is somewhere where you can create phonics resources and maths resources for use away from the screen. The pink is phonics and the orange is maths, and those are the colours that you saw in the search tool. You start to get familiar with the colour coding on Busy Things. Just have a quick look in these areas before you go into here and check that you're happy with these global settings. There are letter styles and letter sounds or jolly phonics. We have been considering adding read write ink. So if that's one that you use in your school, I'd like to hear about that. And the same with the maths, it's letter styles, number styles, sorry. Okay, so in here, you've got all these. If you just use the thumbnail previews to get an idea of what kind of worksheet it is along with this text here. So create your own missing letter, print images with captions for captioning, matching, letter formation, graphemes, and then up here we've got matching different graphemes with the same pronunciations, more missing letters. So let's go in here, and the very first thing you do when you create a worksheet is choose content, whether it's a maths one or a phonics one. I'm going to pick my own words, and I'm going to choose ch and select all. I imagine that you would spend a bit more time than that. So once you've chosen your content, then you've got to start clicking around these different options here to change how it appears. Some have got more options than others. I can turn all the phonemes off, and change the letter style, and I can show or not show the grapheme choices in this particular example. So choose content first and then work your way down these radio buttons until you're happy. And then at that point, you can either save the settings or go straight to making a PDF. If you save the settings, it will default to giving you the first 5 words and a summary, but you can call it whatever you want. And then it will be over here. So what we were missing letters, and there it is there, week 1. And I can go back into that and make a PDF. That means that you could create a whole load of worksheets for a half term or a full term and just leave them there for when you need them. The maths works in exactly the same way. So you've got a little description here and the preview to give you an idea of what it is you can make. Again, you choose your content and then start playing around with these options here. Some of them are very complicated. This is a nice simple one for the purposes of demonstrating. Again, save your settings or make a PDF. The difficulty of the worksheets is moving left to right. So the ones in here will be more complex. So we've got to go right up to complex multiplication. Right, so I've shown you these areas, and I'll keep referring back to the teacher bar as pretty much where you can find anything relevant to the place that you are at that moment. This system I mentioned is unique to teacher mode as well, and this is a news alert system. So you can see that we've just added this one here on Friday. It says update, segmenting for spelling, and all these do is link into this area here, the latest news. So the latest news on Friday was that we've updated all these games and they're now widescreen and improved in terms of their functionality and graphics and sound. And then you get a quick link to the games to have a look at them, and you'll see that little blue button if you wanted to pin them or favorite them, or if they were assignable, assign them. And this is a history here. of either news or activities that we've released. So you can see we did all these art activities not long ago. And so you can go right down here, right back in time to see what's been coming on to Busy Things throughout the last few years. These ones here, this yellow one is a link into special events. So we've got Climate Week coming up. The nice thing about the special events area is that you can just quickly pin an entire event. So I'm going to pin Climate Week into my setup, and now there it is. Okay, I think that's my half an hour up. Has anybody got any questions? Hello? Okay, what I'll do is I will send a link to Karen, probably, of the recording. And if you do have any questions after watching that, then please do just get in touch.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.